looks like we're good. Gotta grab the stuff because this is what I plan on messing with today. Probably gonna use this black one, possibly one of these. I have to save one of these for a different commission, so I make sure to leave at least one of these up here for now. Hopefully I might start on that one a little bit tomorrow, because I got a bear gun I gotta mess around with. Oh, so many commissions, so little time. And I'm kind of hopping around between each of them. I want to get some progress, more progress on this guy, so we're gonna mess around with this a little bit more. Plus, a lot of you guys have been asking about it. The cable's messy. I decided to just start streaming. Called it good. Anyways, listen up, Rangers. Welcome to the Geek Chest. My name's Steve. Waiting around for a couple more people to get in. I'm tired. I had to go get my car fixed today, so I was out doing that. I know, White just got brought home the remastered Turtle figures, so I get that to mess around with later, so that'd be pretty cool. It's about live streaming unboxing those, but I'll probably just review them. It's not like the Street Sharks, gotta review those. I got a Destroying the Valley video I'm gonna do here in a minute. Because most of the unboxing we've just been live streaming. So I've been thinking about just well, I'm thinking about, but we'll be doing like Destroying the Valley videos. Eventually will become, as per the title, mainly things that I'm definitely wrecking opening the package. But this one, the box isn't really as good enough to merit keeping by itself. But it's McFarlane the Max, if you guys know what that is. What was a comic book? I think it was Image Comics that released them. Never read the comics, I'll be honest. But I definitely seen the MTV, I think it was on MTV it played, where there was an animated series. And I really liked that. So I always wanted a Max figure, could never get a hold of one. Never see them. They're easy enough to order, but I always like, especially with like vintage figures, I like getting them in hand. Especially if I want a good box. If I don't really care about the box, I don't mind ordering them as much, but I still rather like see the figure to make sure it looks good. Anyways, we got a few people in here. So here's the top part. We're not going to really be messing with this too much today, but I got this pretty much all set up. Although the jaw is a little loose, it comes off pretty easy, but easy enough to adjust. We'll see. Mouth open and closes. Again, fully closed now, the head. We'll have quite a bit of range of motion in the arms. Pretty much do whatever whatever the suit would have been able to do. It's kind of what we're aiming for. Because he doesn't really need like amazing shoulder movement, because it's not like the suit was like doing amazing things anyway. So it's, for the most part, just needs to be able to get the proper things. It'll have a nice abdominal crunch. Just farts. But I want to work on this piece here, because I want to get all the stuff kind of properly affixed for the tail here, so then I can start kind of trying to work out keeping it from sagging. Because if you don't breathe on it, it can hold a pose. If you don't breathe on it, though. Yeah, there's a, I think it's GMK in 2000 tails I used a lot of parts of. There is a Godzilla arm in one of these pieces. There's a Power Ranger arm for this one. And you'll see there's the Godzilla tail section there. This part keeps popping out, which is another thing. I'm probably going to end up having to epoxy this piece in, but the rest of this, I kind of want to try to use the warbla to keep the weight down. Want a warbla around here. Maybe there. Pretty much anywhere I could try to get some weight down is what I want to do. Yeah, he'll be a little over 12 inches tall once he's fully done. The legs, there's no way I can get around with not doing epoxy. I'm just going to have to do that. Same with the arms to be able to keep the sculpted look. Top of the head, I'll have to do epoxy. And then the rest of this, I'm going to try to get away with doing warbla. Honestly, my only real big concern is this section here. keeping it not warbla. Or using the warbler, because it's a little harder to sculpt with that. But I don't think I'm going to get much progress to that today. Mainly want to mess with this. I really think I'm going to have to just epoxy that. It's probably going to have to be epoxy. Oh, sorry. Epoxy, warbler, epoxy. This I plan on just leaving alone. And the knee here will kind of keep it in place so that you can still move it around. Like, my hope is it'll get better movement. You'll be able to see the leg a little bit, but it's not like anything you wouldn't see on a Monster Arts figure. Because depending on how you pose it, you'd see the joints anyways, and then after you pose it, you can just kind of shift the leg. Good to go. At least that's the hope. So, next on the agenda, I think I gotta try at least get some of this tail apart. This is the other problem too, is the way I set this up. Is how do I quite get the epoxy out? Or get it set up to do the warbler. Some of these will probably be able to just pop right back out. Is my hope with a little bit of heat. Let me get this out of the way, because if I heat this up, it's definitely gonna mess up. I'm gonna try to pop off as much as I can though. Plus it'll get weight off this, so then when I go to epoxy this part in, which is another thing I'm hoping to do today, we're just gonna heat this up. Plus, I don't know how many people I'm going to get on this stream anyways, because I know G-Fest is going on right now. Oh, there we go. Oh. Some of these littler parts I'll probably have an easier time. This is the section that's just going to have to stay intact. I'm just gonna have to work with it, but I can epoxy this part, because this part I kept hinges and you can rotate it, so these aren't traditional ball joints, ball jointed sections, because I figured it'd help with the weight a little bit. And then gotta do the same for here. I'm also starting to realize I got to worry about the glue heating. Yeah, I was going to say the glue heating up. Ooh, I don't know if I'll be able to pop that off. I'm going to be honest. Yeah, I was going to say without yanking everything back out. That's interesting. We can pop these things off. Yeah, definitely don't forget to press the like button. I'd appreciate it. Yeah, because I think the way I had it lined up was right. It should be like right flush with the line. And then I'm just going to kind of warbler around this piece. But like I said, I got to get this off in order to do that. So we're just going to pop that out. I'm going to take this out because it wasn't really hooked in very well. And we got to get this some bitch off. Ooh, nice. It's always nice to get new things. Like I said, Jessica brought home those turtles. So I was excited. Oh man. The one negative of using the hot glue. Well, to be fair, now that it's warm, I could just yank it off. Holy crap. This piece is on here. Any way I can get a bigger opening? May have to stay here for a sec. On a high note, I don't really have to worry about melting it. It's not really a concern I have. That's like the warbla. Like, once I start setting this up with warbla, I'm not going to be able to apply heat to it anymore unless I'm actively messing with it. Because you can see here, like, no, this is coming off. It's so warm and just today. Shoo. Me and my girly hands can't get this off. God, I wish I had like a big pair of pliers, because it's like I have this right now. I need something to be able to just like vice grip this thing. At least I'm definitely getting the articulation out of it. It's going to be an hour stream of watching Steve struggle with the tail. On a high note, I got a bigger gap. So we'll just keep going at it. I almost would, because my hands are almost too lanky. They're lanky and I got fat fingers. So sometimes it makes trying to do like delicate small things, especially on these, kind of hard. It's like when people complain sometimes that my nails are too long in videos, and I'm like, but they help me. Oh, come on. We got some more food. Oh, there we go. Jesus. Also, that glue's hot. It's hot and it burns the preciouses. Okay, we got that off. It was set like that. I'm going to add a little bit more. Ooh, maybe I am. I think I left aluminum foil upstairs. I may excess aluminum foil just hanging out around here. Because I want to stuff this a little bit more, and then I will epoxy putty. At least I wanted to stuff it more. Uh-oh. This ain't an X plus, it's X plus. Right. Alright, you guys might be going on an adventure with Steve to the kitchen. Oh, whoops. Hit the wrong button. You guys are going on an adventure with me for a second. Might get a little laggy. Because I found out the other day I only have one roll of aluminum foil, so I had to grab the one from downstairs in order to make some baked potatoes. Good to go. Are you making fun of my legs? They're from one of those like knockoff 1/6 scale figures. I've used them quite a bit for like Guyvers and stuff. Guyvers, we did a Slenderman using those things. I always forget with the way this is set up, the the on and off switch is like right next to where it hooks to the camera. You don't like your Godzilla having long, slender legs? They work. Okay. So like I said, we're gonna stuff his booty hole a little bit more at the top here. Totally forgot to mute the phone yet again. And we're doing this because aluminum foil doesn't weigh that much. Oh, the bootlegs? Actually, no, I don't own any of them anymore. I used to still have the Monster Arts one, but a buddy of mine ended up getting it off me. And the original bootlegs were actually from other people that were sent in for me to do the videos with, and then I sent them back. So like Bubbles wasn't here very long. Yeah, my apologies. I will here. I can totally mute those. Good to go. Yeah, I think we've had every single one of the bootlegs. Just haven't but never kept them. They're always like sent in for like custom commission purposes or whatever. Hey, Hackney. Alright, so tail is in. Okay, like I said, I'm just gonna epoxy putty around here. I'm not gonna really do much detailing work. I don't think. I do need gloves. Oh yeah, I guess technically we never got the column bootleg. Oh no! I've gotten it. We gotten it in for commissions, but I don't know if we actually reviewed that one. Oh, glad you like the videos. Appreciate it, Hack. Let's get some epoxy putty. I'll try to do all the parts I have to epoxy putty real quick. And then we'll mess with the warbla. Do I need this much? What are we epoxy? Because this is going to be... Because this I got epoxy putty, right? So this could probably... I might be able to get away with warbla here. And epoxy putty this section. No, I think it would make more sense to epoxy putty this and warbla this, because you're not going to be able to see this section, so I don't have to worry about detailing. But that being said, like I mentioned earlier, these pieces here, I want to try to keep, well, this piece here I want to try to keep as light as possible. So it doesn't matter as much here. Plus then this will give this a really firm base. Well, this already has a really firm base. God, these gloves suck. Do not buy the gloves from Target. I have just been like constantly ripping these stupid things on everything. Payday, I gotta order some more from there's some black ones I get off Amazon that work really well. They're pretty durable. I recommend using gloves for these. It's recommended because the stuff, it doesn't wash off the easiest. And then especially you need them for like the resin printer. Like the resin printer, it's mandatory. Okay, we still need a wee bit more. Hey, to be fair, that first 54 figure is a very good figure. Also, just may be some beam effects for him too. Haven't really had too much interest posting them on the Instagram, so they'll probably end up on the Etsy here and probably tomorrow. I'll probably sit down tomorrow and get them up on there. Because I got some higher ground beams that I made. I gotta scan them still, but those will probably be on the Etsy too. Might try to make it around. So what this was originally was a X Plus 1999 Godzilla, the Super Toho one that just came out not too long ago. We chopped it up. We're making it fully posable. Oh, yeah, as I say, this one's not... the painted ones are in the other room. But I recently made these ones, which are bending beams for the 72. Because when you shot his beam, it would tend to like curve into whatever it's hitting. So I made a fun one there. So that's what these are. They get painted up. This one's for the 1954 because it's a black and white movie, so it's translucent. I just do some white over top of it to give it that like smoky look to it. Those are two of the newer ones I put together. And I say too is because they're both 3D scans from handmade ones, so they fit like perfectly inside the monster's mouth. And say the bending beams even have, kind of see it there where there's like grooves for the teeth, so it slots like right into the mouth. If you guys are interested and you'd like to save a little bit of money, you can contact me on my Instagram at unimportantsteve. As I saw them a little bit cheaper on there because I don't have to worry about eBay or Etsy fees. Not really. Like I hand sculpted them with monster clay, and then I have a 3D scanner, so I scanned them onto the computer and then reprinted them in translucent resin. And the only modifying I got to do now with those is I just drilled the hole for it to go on a Tamashii stand. Sometimes they're a little loose, but they fit like right into there. Okay, now I'm just gonna stuff this with some epoxy putty. I don't have to get super detail oriented on this section here. And like I said, all this is really going to do is just give this a lot of strong structure. Like I said earlier, what we're doing is converting a 99 X Plus statue into a fully posable action figure. But yes, we're making it articulated. I was thinking about trying to get this to be articulated to scan, and then I could sell the scans. But it's kind of hard with something of this size. And those kind of joints, it would probably be too heavy regardless of what I do. If he wanted to be, I probably could. Don't plan on it though. So what I tend to do with these sections here is once it's cured, I'll sand it down a little bit just to smooth it out for the sections here. Which high Godzilla toys are you talking about? I think I haven't heard of anything new. Just using a little bit of water just to smooth it out. Like I said, the only problem with the epoxy is it's really strong, and I really love using this stuff, but it does add weight. So you do have to worry about that. When sculpting with it, like I mentioned, my table is a hot mess right now. And I thought I still had a couple, so I've mainly been doing sculpting upstairs. I'm gonna move you guys around just a little bit because the beam's been going underneath. But when I went to live stream, I kind of just shoved everything that way, so at least there was a little bit of a clean surface here. And then the problem with that, I don't see my freaking tool. Usually to have this problem at least like once every stream is I lose track of something. So there's my nippers. The warbla's hanging out back there. I got aluminum foil, there's some paint. Paint, something for sanding. Ah, found it. This thing. Trying to get a 62 NECA? I don't think that one's that hard to get a hold of. If you look around at like some Facebook groups and stuff. Just trying to clean up some of like the excess resin epoxy because when it hardens it gets a little bit harder to remove. So where it's kind of gone in between the scaling, I gotta remove those extra pieces. So I want it to be kind of smooth. Yeah, generally speaking, I tend to avoid eBay when trying to buy stuff like that. Because they always seem kind of like, of course they're kind of pricey on eBay because everybody upcharges because of fees. Like I say, you can sometimes get better deals if you're looking around on like Facebook groups. I was gonna say I got a buddy that's selling some Monster Arts figures, but I know the 62 was not one of them. I think it was a 64 in Burning? It's Burning 2019? Okay, so I think we're pretty much good there. It's just got to harden up. And then I'll probably end up having to sand that down, but just a little bit. But that should work good, because I'll probably end up going with a sander and just cleaning this up a little bit. Was there another spot we just talked about? Because we're going to try to do warbla for most of the rest of this. As much as humanly possible. I do... Oh, actually I need this for the neck. So might as well work on this piece here real quick. Which... I glued it in just so I could show it off. Damn it. Oh, there we go. I will re-glue it in. Maybe, anyways. It's like, because again, atypical stream. I should just really set up each piece, like everything I need, and then click the per stream button. We never do that. Never, ever, never. Tail section fudges the glue. I was just using it yesterday. Did it fall down? I don't think it fell down. But I want it. Because I was working on these guys yesterday. and you need super glue. So I definitely was using it. It was right here. If I shoved everything yonder, you think I'd see it straight ahead of me? Because I have a bunch of magnets. I was working on stuff that kind of got stuck together. That dude, sometimes I stick it up here. Doesn't appear to be. Hey, there we go. So, back that down. Oh, maybe. Ooh. Seems like it hardened. Hopefully it's just a little cap on here. Nope, in the hole. There's like a certain point where you can't just get away with just putting the lid on it and calling it a day. Okay. Wrong side. I see the glue, it's right there. Struggle's real. Yeah, like I said, it's kind of hard depending on, I know some people's locations, it gets hard to try to use like groups and whatnot and shipping internationally. But that being said, like I say, you can tend to find some of the stuff a little bit more reasonably priced on there. Okay. Then I'm just going to take the rest of this. Go around the head. Avoid the hole at all costs. Yeah, just in general, Godzilla's always pricey on eBay. Generally speaking, most anything new is usually just like you generally. It's hard to get stuff for like retail right off the rip on eBay. Alright, well, here's where the fun begins, because this stuff I kind of gotta try to sculpt a little bit. But I want to try to hide as much of the original figure as possible on the under section. And then with the epoxy, I kind of want to hide where my cuts were, so that this will just kind of blend in, is the hope. Sometimes it isn't flawless, but that's where painting comes in. Yeah, I was gonna say, I just saw somebody was selling one for, I think like 100 shipped on Facebook. So like I said, they're not like impossible to get a hold of. So like I said, I'm not gonna go, you don't have to go super deep into trying to detail this, but try to just go along with the original spike pattern. So you'll see, kind of just moving up, putting my groove in between the spike, just bring it down. Backing in a little bit. And then for the neck region here. Where's the rest of the body? I kind of want to keep it relatively the same detail. So probably just bring this bend in. The same thing there. And then once you make all your grooves and you're kind of happy with them, back you don't really have to worry about it being super clean, because posing it you're never going to really see this part. Trying to move you guys back into the regular section, and then I just try to replicate kind of same pattern. So for the most part it's like little gaps, so you want to keep it kind of irregular here and there. So I'm just going to kind of start with little squares. And then I'll go back through and make a little bit more of a mess of it. Been doing good. It's been solid. I thought I was going to probably be getting surgery soon, so I didn't end up going to the G-Fest this year. It's probably for the better, to be honest. Like, save some money, got the baby, you know. But now that they didn't recommend doing the surgery, and more or less, I currently just, the best answer I got was just to deal with it. They were nicer about it, but essentially, like with my injury, currently surgery wouldn't really help a whole lot. So unless it gets worse, which I don't want to make it worse, but if it gets worse, then the surgery is more beneficial than where it is right now. Right now, my injury is just kind of annoying. Especially where it's at, so. Which is fine. Yeah, plus that's what you're saying. Like the guy was saying, is like there's no guarantee it's gonna be like 100% fixed, even afterwards, because where it's at on my, because I have like a hernia right where my belly button is. He was just explaining that like even after surgery, it's probably gonna still bug me afterwards. So unless it's really hindering life, I'm better off just sticking with it. G-Fest is cool. It's one of those conventions where it's like, I don't think you need to go there for like the entire weekend, but it's a really fun, like, if you just spend the day there. Especially on like a Saturday where they do like costume contests and such. I'm trying to find my toothpicks. A toothpick that I didn't cut. There we go. I'm just going to kind of go through and just use the toothpick and kind of just make it a little bit more irregular. As you can, hopefully you guys can see, kind of like what this section right here is what I'm doing for the rest of it. It's just tucking it down, adding some shapes. Doesn't need to be perfect, because for the most part you're going to see like a little bit of this, and then the rest of it's going to be kind of hidden slash like blending in with the neck region there. And because we're using epoxy, I kind of got to be quick about this. Because there's certain sections that's like, I would like to spend some time on it and make sure I really get like the same kind of intricate nooks and crannies in detailing. But I'll be honest, we ain't got time for that. Because in about 30 minutes, this is going to start getting pretty hard to move around. And then after 30 minutes, and then after that, it's just going to be nay unmovable. I will say, like, doing it like this is really good for, like, hasty skin. You didn't know they made a 40? Well, Grant, I don't know how long you've been watching the channel. I was like, that was like one of our first videos on, like, original unimportant reviews. And I think the whole reason I did that video was just like, I got the thing stupid early. So I was like, well, nobody's posted a video. I've been kind of thinking about doing it, making like little reviews. So why not? Also, it's kind of a weird thing, but it's also, I don't know, I just find it kind of funny, is I think every single commission where I do sculpting, somebody's always bringing home a little piece of my cat. Because somehow, I don't know how, but every time it'll be just like one of his hairs just gets in the clay. And sometimes I can work it out before it cures, sometimes it doesn't, so it's just there. It's hardened. You won't see it. Favorite kaiju? Legion from Gamera 2. Oddly enough, it's probably working on an X Plus. Would be an X Plus I would love to have, but I just don't, because every time there's always been one available, I just never have the money for it. And then with this, I also probably should, if you're really doing the scaling, like you'll see here, like his scales generally it's pretty craggy. Like it's got a lot of peaks and depths. But again, this is going to be a part that's probably going to get some rub on it, so I don't want anything really pokey on this section here, because it could possibly break off. So again, it's kind of the reason why I'm doing it like this. Because when I did like that, you don't know who Legion is? It's from the 1996 film Gamera 2 Advent of Legion. If you haven't seen the 90s Gamera movies, you are doing yourself a disservice as a kaiju fan. They are great. Honestly, are probably my favorite set of kaiju movies in general. I prefer them over the 90s Godzilla movies. And that's for somebody that like adores Gamera or Godzilla movie from the 90s. Like I'd say the 90s is probably still my favorite era. Oddly enough, like my favorite movies are like not really from much from the 90s, but just like as a whole, I love the design of the monsters and the presentation. But yeah, Gamera Guardian of the Universe, Gamera Advent of Legion, and Revenge of Iris are great. I think they're also available on like Tubi, so you can watch them for free. We'll worry about it later. You might have heard a copyrighted sound. I have to change my my text tone. Somebody called. It's the alarm from Ghostbusters, the siren. Because what was it? We were watching all the Ghostbusters one day. And I decided to change my tone to it because it's just loud and obnoxious so I can hear it better. So you're welcome, just saying. And then for this part, honestly isn't the most detailed thing, so we're just gonna... It's kind of in the same boat where it's just a bunch of squares. Wasn't planning on working on the head today, it just kind of fell into place. But I need more practice because I would like to do some more actual like full customizing, well not customizing, full sculpting, because I had done a bust already that I worked on that I'm pretty happy with. I really want to do some more. I gotta scan the one still. It's kind of like that for the undertone. And then, honestly, probably just gonna take one of these guys. So I cut a bunch of these the other day for, I needed the bits for some parts, and just gonna kind of use this for texturing for this neck here. So this part can just go away. Just kind of help it blend in better. So there we go. Woo. So again, nothing crazy. I know it's not like exactly the same sculpt as you see, but it's just, again, something for once it's painted and everything's all set up, you won't it won't deviate the eyes away from you. Like you're gonna look at it and be like, oh, that's not quite right. Because to be honest, I probably should, if I was going to take my time, is I would just use this and make all my make like each of the scales instead of doing it a more uniform. But yeah, like I said, with the thing with epoxy is it's really hard to get perfect because you got a limited time. Because like once because it's already starting to, like, I can shift it, but like I can feel it's already starting to get like less and less give. So I really just want to make sure that everything is as good as it can be, because I really don't want to mess with this later. Because trying to remove epoxy and fix something is a freaking nightmare. Roar. Oh, yeah, you can get on YouTube too. I think God, I should have known that because I think I seen it pop up in like my suggested videos a little while back. Also, thank you guys for all the likes. We're at 42 already. Appreciate everybody. Hey, Green Meanie, we're working on a closable 1999 Godzilla. Don't mind me getting a drink. All right, so kind of establish everything else. We're going to try to do warbla. So if you don't know what warbla is, it's a fun little product. So it's thermoplastic. So when you heat this up, it becomes malleable. And then once it cools, it hardens back into plastic. But it doesn't have that much weight to it, which comes in handy. I also don't really need these anymore because since we're using heat, gloves isn't a great idea. Watch out. Oh, freedom. Sweet, sweet freedom. Ooh, Italy'd be fun. I don't want to call you Blake. It says Green Meanie. We're going with Green Meanie. Think I remember everybody's usernames? God. Scissors. Scissors. Probably want some scissors. Where are my scissors? Again, never prepared. I even thought of scissors beforehand. Okay, so I got my crappy pair of scissors. I wanted to try my best to cut out about the size for sections that I'm going to need. Because my hope is I only have to do one shot, we're good to go. So like for this, just cut out a chunk there. So it's roughly about the same size. Yeah, this stuff's pretty, it's not the hardest thing to cut. Then you take this. Some don't generally recommend using a table. You probably want something that it's not going to adhere to when it's hot. But we're on a time crunch. But you want a heat source. Hair dryer usually works really good. Heat gun works even better. Usually when you're heating up, you'll see it kind of lift up and then it'll come back down. But you'll see already it's starting to get kind of malleable. And once it gets pretty heated, it gets really sticky. So there we go. So that's already kind of working for me. And now, just rip a chunk. Kind of start working it around. Now it's pretty malleable. Just fill in the quick nooks and crannies. Rip it off. Probably should have stuffed that hole better. Hindsight is 2020. Probably got to heat this up one more time because it also cools pretty quick. This is malleable enough. There we go. We'll get that back out. Take some foil. I got kind of just sitting around. Stuff that bad boy a bit. Work that back in there. Have a good one, Kaiju. Uh-oh, the glue is malleable. It doesn't work quite like clay, but it works pretty well. And the hope is this will just give this enough structure and hide the gappage. I think we're going to need a little bit more of it for this section. Never actually used the black stuff before. Oh yeah, that Bandai vinyl's sweet. I'm pretty pumped. I don't know if you guys haven't seen, somebody put on Macari a Zilla Movie Monster series of the 2004 version. And everybody's freaking out about it. Me included. I seen somebody tried to buy it and it got taken down. So we'll have to wait and see what comes about that. But still pretty excited. It might have been. It looked pretty legit. Like, if that was a custom, that was a pretty damn good custom. I think my conundrum is I think it was something that wasn't supposed to, like, probably somebody working at the factory took it home and tried selling it, is my guess. I like that this looks like chocolate when it's all said and done. There we go. So, hides everything. Hopefully when it's painted, it'll look pretty clean. I'm gonna try to do the same for over here. So again, gonna try to cut out something about the same size. I'm gonna go a little bigger. Like I said, to me it looked legit. I just don't think we were supposed to know about it anytime soon. My hope is that it sells really well, and then they decide to make a Monster Arts. Because as much as I like 3D printing those Zillas, it would be nice to have like a proper action figure. And then people can send me those to repaint. I would much rather just repaint them than try to put them all together. As much as I like money, but okay, same thing. Gonna make a little hole there. This, I'm thinking, well, for starters, I forgot to stuff that stupid thing with aluminum again. So that, unlike last time, that won't just recess into the thing. Yeah, because the thing of warbla too is it really likes to stick to each other. So when you heat warbla, it'll like permanently attach to other warbla. So when you're sculpting, like trying to use it for sculpting purposes, and you're like trying to sculpt warbla onto warbla, it is a nightmare. Yeah, who doesn't like money? This section, though, I'm gonna make a college try at sculpting this part. Which I really should probably do this on high setting and then do it, but whew, this might be challenging. I gotta be careful not to melt the vinyl, but I really need this hot. Stuff is interesting. Where is my little knife? Little sculpting tool. How hard is this going to be? Can I do it? Yes, I can. Okay. So same verse, same as the first. We were going to cut some lines. think the only problem with the warbler idea is it's not going to be the cleanest around. Unlike with epoxy, you can kind of blend it together. Well, the warbler is going to have like a clear difference in section. That being said, I can get this pretty easy. Like, looks pretty legit. I don't think I'm going to get away with the toothpick. I'm trying to sculpt into this, but I might be able to. Oh God, that's hot. You need to move before I burn myself. Oh, I lied. That's workable. All right. Do I have anything that's kind of pointed, but not super sharp? Preferably a little firmer. I think we have the right idea at the rip. At least to get this kind of set up. Yeah, exacto blades don't work too bad either. Like, sometimes I even use, like, these little screwdrivers. Actually, now that I think about it, it probably worked fairly good for this. Because it's hard, it's got a bit of an edge, but I can kind of work around. Sections here, because again, this part's going to be like not really coming into well, it's going to come into contact, so I don't want anything super pointy, and I just want it to sort of like blend with your eyes. But for parts of this, I don't really have to care too much about the detailing. The only nice thing is I can come back and fix things if I really wanted to. Because of the nature of the beast, but that works pretty good. Where'd that go? That goes there? To be honest, once it cools, we can test it. So that's spiffy. because that'll pop into there. So gotta do the same here. I don't have to detail this part, it's just gotta sit on there. Sit you over there. Scissor me up. I was kind of concerned that I was going to be using way too much warbla for this, but it's actually, so far, been going better than I hoped. Honestly, I think the epoxy would probably be stronger. I think this would be better rub resistant, but I think the epoxy is going to hold better. Like, I feel like when this cools, my only concern is if this wasn't, the piece here wasn't really well in place, that this would just pop off once it cools off. But because this is in there really, really well, I'm not too worried about it. While, like I mentioned earlier with the butts here, I can't get this thing in there securely the way this is set up and designed, because the only thing holding this in is the tinfoil. I need something super strong so that this isn't gonna ever move. And I don't think the warbla would give me that same problem. Seal paints. There's a couple of things. I usually use like Mr. Hobby's rattle can clear coat works really well. I don't recommend using like automotive spray paint, because the chemicals in it sometimes, especially like vinyl or any figure that's a little bit softer, it tends to tack up really bad. Honestly enough, if you mix it like 50-50, Mod Podge works really well. Nobody ever expects the legs. So I don't know if you saw it, but it lifts up and kind of goes down. I definitely don't recommend the air dry Play-Doh, the air dry clay, because it's just generally not strong enough. And then sometimes when that stuff hardens, it'll expand because of the process or whatever. I forget the term, but because the way it is, like clay usually like it'll expand a little bit when it heats up. I cut this way too big, but that might work in my favor. No, it's good for like sculpting. Like I don't have a problem with the stuff if you're like using it to actually like make sculpting, but for like action figure purposes, you're better off just like spend a little bit of extra money and just get epoxy. Like this stuff runs about $40 and lasts you for the one of these tubs lasts me like 2 years working randomly on commissions. And your average person is probably not using nearly as much as I do. Hey, Andrew. Probably not a whole lot. We're kind of in the same process of stuffing things with warbla. I gotta get this stuff there. The one weird thing with warbla is like the first initial like heating of it, it's not usually that malleable. And you gotta like, I don't know, it always seems like to me after you gotta do it a few times and then it's good. Yeah, like Milliput works good too. It's just like, but you're spending like $10 for a small thing. Wow, this is like 4 pounds of epoxy putty together. But it all depends on like how many you're really doing. Like if you're sculpting a lot of things and doing a lot of customs, then that's definitely the way to go. If you're only like doing one or two, I'd say within the year, and it's not something like this project here, yeah, I mean, you could definitely just get away with the milliput then. Yeah. It's so hard once it gets cooling. I'm just trying to blend this over so that it's hiding the original tail. And it's so close. And my fingertips are kind of hurting. The Rebirth Monster Arts, it's probably one of the best ones. Like the Burning Godzilla is already really good. And it's the same, it's literally the same figure. And you get a beam. But I always really like that figure. Sorry about that. I had a tickle in my throat. Okay, so same thing. Trying to just get rid of some, smooth this out. If I gotta get rid of some excess, I will have to. Grab my epoxy. I don't know why I said epoxy, my Exacto blade. Just gonna move some of that around there. It's still kind of soft, so it's gonna be hard to cut. But because it's really malleable right now, more or less just trying to just remove, squish, remove and squish. So like that, and then hopefully once it's, I don't want to put it together yet because since this is still a little soft, this could possibly stick together, but the hope is that'll hook together, good to go. That's all cooled off. That looks a little smoother. Might have to call the stream good here. Might do this one real quick and then I'll probably hop off. Call it a day. To be fair, I think there's, for me, I never owned the figure, so I can't say with 100% confidence that it's not the worst one, but I always felt like the figure was fine. It's just the paint job was very lackluster on it. For sure. And I definitely think there is worse painted / designed figures. I had no problem. Like, yeah, I'll shoot you some stuff. Like I said, a lot of people seem to be interested in me working on this one, so I plan on, I gotta set this stuff aside because these I can actually reuse. What's in this cup? Oh yeah, that's the parts for the commission that's upstairs. Need a cup. I can reuse these for the smaller parts. Yeah, at least making some progress on it. I feel kind of bad. This has been kind of, like I said, it's like I work on it for like one day a week. I get like one solid progress on this thing. It's the same thing. Just gonna kind of cut a piece out about the size. Like I said, I'm definitely getting more mileage out of this than I thought I was gonna. Probably tomorrow. I'll probably be working on this more tomorrow too. My hope is between that and I gotta work on painting, finish painting this guy for Dope Coat. Is my hope, because I want to try to get his bottom set between today and tomorrow, and then next week I'll probably sometime maybe later this week / next week I'll work on doing the rest of the head and the neck, and then the arms and legs are probably gonna be like over the course of a couple days, because I'll only be able to do like certain sections at a time. Where'd you go, knife? I'm trying to just stick this in here and be able to cut it back out, but it's being difficult. Because this knife is not nearly as sharp as it used to be. Let's eke that out. Same as the first, heat it back up. You fill a Titan Evolution Godzilla water. I got some extra ones hanging around. I gotta find them. They're hanging out somewhere, and I'm not 100% at the moment. Alright, what's probably going to happen is this section, I'm probably going to wait for it to cool. And then I'll just add more warbla over top. In order to, like, look, really hide this. So I really want this to kind of harden, and then I can add more, and then heat it back up. But sort of like that. So then this is nicely hidden, and once that's sculpted, kind of blend in with that again. Alright, I'm gonna call it good here. Actually, I guess this is cooled off enough, so I might be able, hopefully I'll be able to hook it together without having to heat it, because God forbid I gotta do that. Ugh. Whew. Not quite in. But now that it's cooled, it's easier to cut. Because whatever is in this joint needs to not be here anymore. It's like those access bits are just gonna get in the way of posability. Nah, at least -1 is paint. I think -1 paint job's fine. To me, it looks more like when he was in the water than when he is on land. But the paint job's like, it's okay. It's still like better than most anything legendary wise they've put out. Outside of maybe 14 and the new legendary, depending. Like I think his paint job is like acceptable. Kind of in the his paint job reminds me a bit of like 2004's, where it's like okay, but not the best. And the sculpt's really good on it. Although I've definitely seen some like people do some 3D ones a little better. God, what the hell? I can't heat it. You just need to go in. Ugh. Kind of thinking because it's expanded a little bit around there, I might have went a little too hard. And it's not quite catching like it was. So I might have to go back on this a little bit. Lesson learned. Yeah, so I think we did reviews for the mecha, right? He was cool. But like the sculpt could maybe be, it's like kind of with all of them. The sculpt's like a little off, but as an actual figure, it's pretty sweet. Best one's the Destroyer, like hands down. Destroyer and the Thermal, I think, are like the two best ones they put out. Like those ones I highly recommend. Those ones are sweet. The rest are like acceptable. Except Biolante. Don't buy the Biolante. But anyways, that's pretty much it for this live stream. So help us defeat those kaijus by hitting that like button, subscribe, become a ranger today. We also got Instagram, Patreon, TikTok, Facebook. Guys like Evo, the David channel, and donate. Greatly would appreciate it. If you guys like to pick up some collectibles for yourself, link in the description for Entertainment Earth. One way to help support the channel. Especially if you're planning on picking up like the Monster Arts, Super 7s are big on there. Plus, well, a lot of the Super 7s get multiples, you get free shipping. We're just saying something. Oh god, there's something else that just came out too. Almost anything you get stateside, definitely one of the better places I think to go. Plus they help support the channel. Also, if you guys like to pick up some high Godzillas for yourself, link in the description for calcustoys.com. They also have been starting to get pre-orders for Monster Arts too. So if you guys like to get them in advance, I could definitely comment on the Hayas getting them much earlier than any stateside site. Monster Arts, I would assume they would get them faster than stateside because since being in China, I would imagine they would get it about the same time the Japanese market would be getting it. So definitely would recommend going that route. You can save 6% off your order. Code SteveCalcus at checkout. But anyways, we'll see you guys in the next live stream. Hopefully it'll be tomorrow if all things go according to plan, which generally they don't. But anyways, I'll see you guys later. Bye-bye.